Hi, friend. Ashley here. Welcome to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. I'm here to guide you along your journey to unlocking your dreams to achieve the best life that you can imagine possible. From my journey in medicine as a PA and then some in the corporate world, I always still desired a little bit more out of life. It wasn't until I met some people who had seen their dreams realized that it occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, mine could come true too. Come along with me as we get to know some of these friends of mine and hear their stories of unlocking their dreams. Hey, friends, welcome back this week to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. I have a great friend of mine, Sarah Rosenthal, with me that's going to share some stories about her entrepreneurial journey and just really help dive in with you guys. So, she is a health and nutrition coach and founder of Sarah Rosenthal Wellness, and we'll certainly give you guys a chance to connect with her at the end of the episode. She really enjoys empowering her clients to create sustainable, healthy habits that seamlessly fit into your lifestyle, helping you to achieve your wellness goals. She's passionate about guiding clients to break free from the restrictive diets, food related stress, and confusion around health, and truly simplifies the path to help you feel your best. And then we'll dive in a little bit about her method and what she has available. But I honestly can't think of a better time to have you on, Sarah, going into the holidays and just all the things. I feel like even reading that, I'm like, oh, yeah, the holidays, all the things. So I'm gonna let you just dive in, share what you want to share just behind your story of starting your businesses and kind of your why you got started.
Yay, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. I'm yeah, I feel like this is a great time because this is a really good time to jump into health goals with the holidays coming up and with New Year's coming. So,
Yeah.
a little bit about me. I started my first business, which is a dog walking company in 2015. So, that was kind of my first step into the entrepreneurial world after working office jobs and kind of just not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, being a little confused, not super happy, like nothing really striking my passion. So a lot of starting dog walking was because I wanted to be outside, because I love dogs. I also love people. So I really like the customer service aspect of dog walking. And a lot of what that business is, it is customer service. It's so much more than just playing with dogs because people are hiring us to come to their house and they need to trust us to be inside and trust us to be with their animals. So that was kind of what started that in 2015. Very clueless, not exactly sure how I was going to do it, but I had a neighbor who had a similar business and she helped me out a lot. So she answered a lot of questions that I had. She referred clients to me, so she didn't have any help. So I didn't work for her, but she would refer out to me if she couldn't take on any more clients. And so that was kind of the start of it.
That's amazing. I feel like so many people listening here can relate to just the desk job not being maybe your end goal. But good for you to be like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to jump in, sneaky first, and just go for it. I love that. And I
Yeah.
also can relate a lot to your idea about, yes, it's a dog business, but you're working with people too. That was my background in medicine. It's like when you're seeing the kid, you're
Mhm.
seeing the parent, everything is customer service. So I love that you just
Yes.
incorporated that as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's missed in business, and I think it's like one of the most important aspects to cater to the client or the customer.
How do you feel like you were able to learn how to start to cater to those people that were hiring you to come walk their dogs?
I think uh, I think I'm naturally a people person, so I think that that aspect actually comes very natural to me. I love talking to people. I started that business because I saw a need that people were needing dog walkers and pet sitters, and so I wanted to fill that need. So it came natural. I mean, I remember being really nervous at first. I remember like being scared to talk to people on the phone because I just wasn't sure how it was going to go. But pretty soon it became second nature. So I started that business and it was really great. I got busy a lot quicker than I expected. So it was a bit of a roller coaster. I was so grateful. I remember at the time when I started that business, I had switched my office job to a catering job just because I had to make money in some aspect, and that had a lot of flexibility. So once my dog walking business got super busy, I quit that job and it was quite the journey of like I got to the point where I was drowning a little bit. I didn't really know what to do. So when I originally started the business, I never had plans to hire employees or hire help. I thought it would just be me. I don't know why I thought I could do all of that. So
Yeah.
I took the long road and I kind of took the hard road to realizing like, no, like actually in order to have freedom,
Mm.
time freedom and financial freedom within a business, I really needed some help. So I finally figured that out probably about 3 years in.
Wow. No, I think, like you said, I mean, sometimes the best way to learn is just to do it. And I agree with you. It's
Mhm.
hard to know where, like, sometimes I feel like people ask, like, okay, well, what's your end game in starting a business? And sometimes it's hard to realize, like, you don't think about scaling and sailing or however you want to kind of go through it.
Mhm.
But that's amazing. And again, talking about people skills, not just your clients, but now you're bringing on employees and a whole nother set of people to cater to. So that's incredible, girl. And it's cool that you were able to scale that quickly in 3 years because you saw a need and you filled it, which again, I think is just the entrepreneur magic of like finding the space
Mhm.
where there's a need and you can just step in. That's incredible. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. Do you have questions or should I continue?
Cool. No, I was just going to ask you, and you've kind of already touched on this too, but some things that you've
Yeah.
learned along the way as you've kind of gone from the whack factor over into where you're headed now.
Well, I think a huge thing that I learned is really that kind of the sky is the limit. So,
Mm.
like I said, I didn't really have a plan with the WAG factor. I didn't know how I was going to hire. So it wasn't really until I sought out help. So I hired a coach. I hired a business coach that was specific to the pet industry, which was a really big thing because it is kind of a niche industry. Yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole business in
Cool.
itself. There's several of them. It's really cool. And that was really big. Like I love business coaches. I have one now, but to have one very specific to that very unique industry was huge for me. So that was how I learned to hire employees, why I went with employees versus contractors, and I feel like through that, like a lot of what I overcame was imposter syndrome,
Mm.
doubting myself. I mean, all of these thoughts that happen when you start a business when you don't really know how to start a business. So I had the people skills, but I didn't have the business skills, which thankfully that is a learned thing.
Yes.
So yeah, so like my advice is that like I didn't know that I was capable until I sought out help. I think I waited way too long to ask for help. I wish that I would have sooner, because it would have saved me a lot of up and downs and a lot of roller coaster and just a lot of emotional turmoil. Dog walking is so much fun, but when I was doing it like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., that's a lot. Yeah, and you don't really have a life when you start a business to try to have freedom. That doesn't really work out very well. But my advice is to have a plan, a loose plan. I would say I'm not like a
Mm.
super specific planner, and kind of reverse engineer it and know the road to get there and know what you really want to do. I love dogs, I love people, but I also wanted freedom. So I didn't want to
Mm.
have a boss. I didn't want to sit in an office. And so that was a lot of my motivation. And it was a lot of my motivation for not quitting when I was like really in the throes of it.
I love that. You guys just rewind that last little bit and re-listen. That is incredible. I'm just so inspired by the fact that you went for it. And I think a lot of people too just don't ask for help or maybe don't know when to ask. And yes, you said that you wish you maybe you had done it sooner, but you did it. And
Yeah.
just like you said, it's so much easier to learn from someone else's mistakes or victories or the systems that they have in play because I keep hearing freedom in your story. And I think that's
Hmm.
a big thing of it too. Like there's already systems in place to help you get there faster, but I also love that you touched on it's also what kept you going. And I think that,
Hmm.
your why or your heart for doing something, it's just not only does it get you started, but it keeps you going. And I feel like you really found something for you that just really clicks. And that's amazing. So inspired, girl.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I know you said you had the business coach and now you have one now, obviously, and we'll talk about
Hmm.
you're not just dog walking anymore. But what are some connections you found that maybe have helped you along the way to get where you are? Maybe even outside of those, or it could just be those that you've already mentioned too.
I think a lot of what helped me along the way was consistency. So,
Mm.
and this is dog walking and health coaching. So, health coaching is a newer business for me, but just learning and being consistent with things, showing up even when I'm not hearing from people or even when it feels like I'm speaking to the ether. I feel like that's a huge key for me. And having a coach for both businesses has been a very big deal for me. So very pet specific coach for the WAG Factor. And then I have a one-on-one business coach with my business now. And that's been really big for me. So I have done group programs as well. I really like one-to-one because I feel like my coach and I know each other and she knows my struggles. And it's so much more than just strategy, because starting a business is a lot of mindset and it's a lot of like me just being in my own way. And so having someone see that and having someone kind of have this like bird's eye view has been really helpful to sort through, past trauma or things that are holding me back and help to create a plan to actually move me forward.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's stuff that I wouldn't even think about going into a business, but you're coming in as a whole person. Like, yes, your physicality, but yes, your background, your emotions, the whole thing. That's incredible. And I think, yeah, for people that want to do it and can do it, I'm sure the one-on-one over the group, I'm sure they both have their place, but it's really cool.
Right, of course.
Both. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the group energy is really awesome. I think for me right now, with being, with just starting this business about a year ago, it's good to have that very personalized support.
It's so really cool too, just your self-awareness of knowing what you need as a business owner. And I think someone's told me recently, you have to focus on profit and delegate the rest. So you have to know like what you're good at and know where to delegate. It sounds like you're really getting in the weeds of like, Sarah's strengths in your lane and like where you have to be, and then delegating the rest of it. That's awesome. Really, really inspiring.
I think we're all learning, and I definitely am as well.
How did you find your business coaches? Just like Google searches or connections or networking or?
For the WAG Factor, a lot of that was just on Facebook. So there's like various Facebook pages for pet sitters and dog walkers. And a lot of them are run by the coaches. So that was how I found it for that. My business coach now I found through a networking event. So she's local here. Yeah. And so we met at a networking event, and her and I chatted and really connected. And that was very, I don't know, it propelled me forward. So like I said, I've done group coaching as well, but I really like the aspect of one-on-one more than I expected to.
That's good to hear. Yeah, that's good for your listeners too. I think just to think through, even putting yourself out there at a networking event can feel really just scary and overwhelming to walk in the first time. But like you said, you were in it to win it and you put yourself out there and you were willing to overcome the obstacles along the way. So it's cool to hear your story. And I hope that's awesome.
Thank you.
Any other things that you feel like you've really overcome along your journey, both the WAG Factor and now with wellness business? Anything that you've kind of overcome?
Let's see. So I said, I think a big thing for me is just tapping into the freedom with both businesses. So a huge reason why I wanted to start health coaching is because I believe that there is so much freedom in taking control over our health. And yeah, and it relates in any area where you're at, whether you are an entrepreneur or a mom or a 9 to 5. Like if you don't have your health, like you don't have that freedom. And freedom is a big word for me. It's a big why for me. It's like my number one value. And I really value it in both aspects. So there's no point in having financial freedom or time freedom if you don't have freedom in your health, if you're not feeling your best and if you're not capable of moving and taking care of the day-to-day things. It just doesn't really make a difference with the other time freedom or financial freedom.
Gosh, that's huge. And I feel like, especially going into this part of the year, I feel like it's on people's minds going into the new year. It's, we're like 6 weeks out, so you can kind of start making some goals. But yeah, totally agree. I think the health aspect of it, you truly aren't free without your health. And that's a really good call out, I think, for people. Just like take a second and maybe reflect on this holiday season. Where can you bring more freedom into your life? And maybe health is a place that you can do that. That's awesome, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I feel so passionate about that. And I just love helping people have those aha moments where it's not this hard thing, where it's not restrictive, where it doesn't feel super rigid. And that's a lot of what I'm about, even in my businesses. Like I don't want to hustle and I don't want to go, go, go. I want to have softness. And a lot of times with our health, we're told that it has to be this very rigid, regimented thing, as opposed to the possibility of having things more on autopilot that almost become your identity, things that you just do every day that aren't hard, but they really benefit you. and they make you feel good every single day. And that's just what I love teaching. I don't love teaching um, the restriction and these trendy diets that are not going to help you long term, or they're not going to be sustainable long term.
That's so true. Just like the habits that you can create that take a few weeks maybe to get, but you're right. They just sit
Yeah.
muscle memory. And then, you can stack those habits on top of each other. And before you know it, you've transformed, but you didn't go in with like 12 things to do at one time and just tackling all of them, like one little thing at a time. That's awesome.
Definitely.
I love that. How do you feel like you balance being a business owner? And obviously, like you mentioned, there's other roles in our lives that we tackle with health. How are you balancing owning your businesses, but then also some of the other roles that you have?
Yeah. A big thing for me is that I really try to schedule margin into my schedule. So I feel like that's a very underrated thing. I like to have free time. I like to give myself space in case things go over, in case they take longer, in case I'm feeling off. So I love doing that. Kind of like I just mentioned, like I try to have my health habits on autopilot. So the things that I do every day that make me feel really good is not something that I have to think about or really even check off a list. It's just something that I do. It's just part of my identity. And I remember a long time ago, my grandma kind of taught me that. So she was someone who walked every single morning. She would do a 6 mile walk. And we are from Illinois. So it's freezing cold there in the winter. There's snow. And my brother and I would go to her house over the weekends. And she would walk before we would wake up in the morning. And it was a non negotiable for her. And I remember like just how powerful that was, how she didn't feel good if she didn't walk, how all of the neighbors knew her, how she would, bundle up when it was cold. She would dress appropriately when it was warm. And it was just what she did. And so I just love that. And anytime that I'm feeling a little off, I try to remember that like what we're doing now really matters later. Another thing I do is ask for help, like I've said.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned that a few times. And time blocking. So I just try to take control of my schedule. Being an entrepreneur, we don't have bosses. So it's up to us. And that is a beautiful thing. It can also be a challenging thing. Like when there's not necessarily a time limit, it can be bad. And I've fallen victim for that before, but I just try to really block my schedule out and also fit in fun things. So we don't start businesses to not have fun and to not be able to be with our families and our friends and have hobbies. And that's a really important thing to me too. And I feel like it keeps me going when I have that balance in my schedule of fun and of work and feeling productive and helping people.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. I love the legacy aspect of that. Like it's in your epigenetics from your grandmother. Cause I agree. You show up for yourself every day and she already had like a win before you guys were even ready to go. And that's incredible.
Yes.
Do
Ooh,
you
you're so right about that.
do you have any of your kind of health tips and tricks that have become your habits that you want to share? Like if people are like, where do I even start with this? Or what are some ideas maybe for going into January or the holidays?
Sure. Yeah, or the holidays. I think a really simple one is to make sure you're drinking a lot of water or enough water. So, a lot of people who I work with are often not drinking enough water. And this is a huge thing that if you are not having enough water every day, just doing that one thing can really give you more energy. It can clear your skin up. It can help you lose weight just by doing that one thing. If you don't love water, or even if you do love water, I would recommend adding a little lemon to it. That can kind of help like really detox and push things through. And if you don't like drinking as much water, it can just help hydrate you a little bit more with drinking less. I also try to focus on adding in healthy foods rather than taking foods out. So I think of crowding my plate with super nutritious, vegetables, lean proteins, things like that. All of the fruit. So sometimes we really want to take away and we want to restrict. And I would just encourage people to more so think about adding in and kind of crowding the quote bad stuff out. We don't need to call
Yep.
it bad, but just really focusing on foods that make you feel good. Another one that I think is overlooked because of grocery stores is seasonal eating. So
Mhm.
we have everything that we could possibly want available to us all year round. And that's just not necessarily how we were designed to eat.
Mhm.
Yeah, so kind of like tapping into that and learning like what are what innately we should be eating during the different seasons can also be really powerful, especially if you're having like digestion or gut issues. And then I also really encourage people to move their body in a way that feels good. So I used to think that like I had to run. I had to run on a treadmill or run outside, and that was like the only way to be healthy. And I don't like running. So that wasn't, yeah, so that wasn't good for me at all. And tapping into things that I actually love doing, like yoga and tennis and pickleball and weight training, has been such a game changer to me, and not doing the exercises that I don't like. It's so simple, but like moving your body is what's important. It doesn't really matter. It can matter, but it doesn't matter as much what you're doing as long as you're moving.
That's huge. I love the flexibility in that, because you're right. You're giving someone like a structure, but not like here's like run 6 miles, lift, this many reps or whatever. I just love the flexibility in that, because you're right. You're going to do the things that you want to do that are fun for you to do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. And going back to your time blocking a little bit earlier too with calendar, I love that you touched on that, because I think for entrepreneurs, like you live and die by your calendar. If it doesn't get done, calendar. So I love that even going into the holidays, like a lot of businesses, or you're an employee, and I'm using that in quotations, you close or you get a break or you shut it down, whatever. But when you're running your own business, you decide all that. And so it's great for you too, just to even think about time blocking, like your days, your weeks, your months, maybe all the way out to your years, and how you want to structure your time. But yeah, calendar planning, I think, is huge. Huge, huge, huge.
Yes.
So people obviously listening here probably have some sort of dream that they're working towards. And I know, speaking of health goals for the new year, but also just like, I feel like the new year is a great time to kind of sit, not only just do your goals, but also dream like what went well this year, what could have gone better, what can we do better going into 2025. What would you share with someone maybe who has that dream that they're a little nervous or feel doubtful or fearful to start to pursue next year?
Yeah, first I would say that I think that anybody starting a business is going to feel that way. So it's very normal. And so just know that like you're not odd for feeling that way, but I would also encourage people to start before they're ready. So we always think that we need to like be at a certain point before we're ready to start a business or hire a coach or run a marathon. I guess you do have to get ready, but
Take that step, start running. So I feel you, girl.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you literally have to start before you're ready. It's going to feel scary and it's going to feel stretchy, but that's the point, and that's how we grow. And I could have thought of a million excuses of why I shouldn't start either one of my business. Yeah, and I think we all could. And it did feel scary for both of them, and I felt vulnerable. And it does. It feels vulnerable sharing something with the world that you don't know if it's going to be successful. But I would say put your blinders on. So really stay in your lane. Block out anyone who is going to have negativity, anyone who's asking how your little business is going at Thanksgiving. Like, please block that out, because no one who is ahead of you, no one who's doing what you want to be doing is going to be thinking those things. So I would only take advice from people who you admire, because they're going to be the ones who are encouraging you to actually do it. And they've started where you're starting. So I would really, really put the blinders on of any family, friends, any sort of negativity, because this is your dream. You're the one who's paying the bills, and you need to move forward with it. And yeah, and I would just say do your research and know the steps to get there, and know where you want to go, reverse engineer it, and just do something every single day that is going to move the needle forward. So I know personally I've gotten stuck with busy work before, or the fluff, just to kind of make myself feel productive. And I'm really learning that less is more. So that 20% that you do that really moves the needle forward, to really focus on that. And I'm a work in progress with that too. But I would really know like what is going to make your dreams happen, and focus on those things.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to go back and re-listen to that for myself and take notes on that. That's incredible. And you can tell that you have been through the fire and tested through it, because you are speaking from a place of authority and conviction. I just hear that in you. So I know it's genuine and it's authentic. And yes, to everything that Sarah just said, yes, please go back and re-listen to that. I feel like everyone needs to pop this in every single day going into the holidays and the new year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll certainly give people a chance to know where to find you, but I want to touch a little bit on kind of your signature core four method, what that looks like. And then maybe if someone's like, hey, maybe I would like a coach going into the new year, what does that look like? And how do we get in touch with you? And what do your programs look like? And all that good stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of what I believe in is simplicity and sustainability. So that is kind of what I have built my health coaching program around. So right now, the offering that I have is a 90-day program. So it's called Confidence in Every Bite, and it's based off of my core four method. So my core four method touches on mindset, lifestyle, nutrition, and movement. And we always start with mindset, which is a lot of what people don't want to do. And it is really the most important part. And I like to think that that is one thing that makes my program a little bit different than other programs. So I don't believe in just giving people a meal plan and saying go, or giving people, prescribing them a workout at the gym and saying go. So the first thing that we start out with is, where are you? So what are the things that you're struggling with? What do you need help with, and where do you want to go? Because those are the two things that we need: where you are and where you want to go. And then we're going to figure out, why haven't you gotten there yet? Why are you struggling? What were you told when you were younger? What conditioning do you have that makes you believe that maybe you're not worthy of being your healthiest self? Because a lot of times that's what it is. We're told, like, oh, well, this runs in my family, or I was told that I was going to be overweight, or I was told I was overweight when I was younger. And we really have to get through those lies, because so much of this is in your control. And it's not necessarily about losing weight, it's about feeling really good. So we start with the mindset, and we do a lot of work around that. And the lifestyle aspect is a lot of habits that, again, like, sometimes are overlooked. So that is a lot about stress. It's a lot about sleep. It's a lot about getting outside, things that we need or don't need as far as stress as humans to really, like, help us on that journey. So you can eat all of the healthiest stuff, but if you are not sleeping, and if you're just super stressed out at your job and constantly in fight or flight mode, your body is going to hold on to weight. And you are probably going to have digestion issues or some sort of symptom that's going to show up in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the first things that we focus on. And then it is a nutrition program as well. So oftentimes people come to me, I would say like two different people come to me. So someone who is maybe confused, who just was never taught nutrition, kind of in the mindset of, if it's sold at a grocery store, it must be okay for me to eat, without really knowing, how to read ingredient level or ingredient labels, how to kind of decipher, like, what is going to, like, fuel your body a little bit better. So we definitely go into the nitty gritty of that as well. And then movement. Again, I am a big believer that people should be moving their bodies how they want to move their bodies. If you don't like doing a spin class and you're going to sign up for 3 months of spin, you're not going to go. And why should you? Like, that's so silly. So I love helping people just, like, find their thing, find their hobby. Because that's where it becomes fun, and that's where you meet your community, and that's how you stick to it. So it doesn't really matter what it is. Of course, there's, like, different benefits to different things, but, like, just moving your body. And then a lot of what I see on the other spectrum is someone who's maybe very rigid. So maybe they think that they are being healthy, but they are counting their macros and counting their calories and just being super rigid around food, oftentimes maybe not eating enough, which can also cause us to hold on to weight. And we just kind of need to soften with them and kind of change the mindset of restriction into kind of volume eating. So, and that's a hard one for people to grasp, but I'm a big believer in volume eating, where you can really bulk your meals up with a lot of, like, vegetables and healthy foods to have a larger meal with, that's not going to, cause you to gain that weight. So I love changing people's aspects on that. And also these foods that are going to, like, literally feed your cells, not just your hunger pains.
Wow.
And yeah, and give you that energy and give you the fiber and move things through. So it's just a lot deeper than just, eat this and don't eat that. So that's a lot of what the program covers. I work with clients one-to-one right now because I love to go deep with people, and I feel like that's how we really get that transformation. and the program is 90 days long. So that's like my core focus right now. And that's what I am really enjoy doing and really enjoy talking to people about.
Sounds amazing. It sounds like such a good mindset that's also sustainable for the rest of your life and not like, okay, I did my 90 days check, like, and then you just fall back into where you were before, which is incredible. I can relate to so much of that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So where can people get connected with you or find you if they want a health coach in the new year or want to share that with friends or any of that good stuff?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Sarah Rosenthal _wellness. So I'm constantly posting a lot of tips and inspiration there. So I would love for anyone to follow me. You can also sign up for my email list on my website. So my website is just sarahrosenthal.wellness.com. There's a little pop-up, a fun little free offer that I have, which is just a little health checklist and some health tips to get someone started. If they just really have no clue where to start, that's a good way to get going. So, and then I send out little fun emails about bi-weekly. And let's see. And then I have a free call. So anyone who is on the fence or anyone who even just wants like a little bit of a taste of what it's like working with a coach, you can book a free call on my website. They're very obligation free. It's really just to see like, would we do well together? Can I help you? If not, can I point you into the direction to someone who could? So it's just fun. I love connecting with people. I love talking to people. So I love these free calls.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is a good way because you're right. You want to make sure it's a good fit. It's going to be a really intentional and intimate relationship. So I think that's incredible that you offer that just for people to, see if it is a good fit on there. And for you, good for your business, but also if you can't help them, I'm sure you're very well connected to send them where they need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was so fun, Sarah. Is there anything that we didn't get to chat about that you were hoping to?
No, not specifically. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in this week. I will get this up and out certainly before the holidays so you guys can take a listen, share this with friends and family. Sarah, you're located in Charleston, South Carolina, but do you work with clients all over the country or do you mostly do people locally?
Both. So virtual and actually my whole business is virtual, but I meet a lot of people in Charleston.
Awesome. Well, you guys send it to friends and family, then all over the country because she sounds like it's a great place to start for you in the new year. But thank you, Sarah, for taking your time and sharing your expertise. There is so much good stuff in here. I'm so excited to get it out. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, friend, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Feel free to share this podcast with another friend who it may inspire. Leave a review to possibly be featured at the beginning of another episode, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the stories that could help unlock your dream for you.